2 Samuel 18 from verse 19. So let me give you a background of the story. You need to follow me, please. No distractions. Please, so that we can make this easy. You need to really follow me. You sit up, square up, shin, don't sit and slap. So it's very important. So now let me give you a background of the story. So this was after Absalom had died, and then they were going to go and tell David. So Ahimaaz had asked, that was Joab, that he should allow him go and tell the king. But let me just give you background of the story. I know we read a part of the scripture. So in 2 Samuel chapter 12, we're able to see that the Lord sent Nathan, the prophet, sent Nathan to go and meet David, and he gave him a parable. And he told him that there were, two men, blah, blah, blah. One had a lot of, stock and all that. He had herds, and the other one just had one. And the one he had, which that was sold, a rich and a poor man. So one had a lot, the other one had not a lot, just one. And that's you, that's she, so she had that, and then so was feeding it with what he had and all of that. And then all of a sudden, this rich man had a stranger or a visitor visit him, and he took the man's own, that's the poor person's own, and dressed it up to give, so he liked Tamar. Let me be fast. Absalom. So Absalom liked Tamar. Then Jonadab, that's his cousin, or their cousin, got into his head, and then began to tell him how, he could go about sleeping with his sister. That's the stepsister. Are you getting what I'm saying? So to sleep with the stepsister and all of that. So you do this, ask your father to tell her to bring something to you, and then you're going to sleep with her and all that. So that happened after Jonadab had convinced Amnon, not Absalom. Absalom is the brother to Tamar. Are you following what I'm saying? So, and all of that. So that happened, and then all of a sudden, Amnon forced Tamar to sleep with him, and then afterwards, the Bible recorded that the hate that he had for her was more than the love that he had. So he pushed her away. He told the servant to shut the door behind her and all. So now Absalom heard about it, and he was very offended. So that was his own sister. So that's his sister, which is stepsister to Amnon, that slept with her. Are you following what I'm saying? And all of that. So that happened, and everything went on and on. So 2 years after, then the Bible makes us understand. Can you imagine? The heart of men deep. So 2 years he kept it, and then he decided to, he had started, I think sheep rearing and all of that, and he asked the king to come, and the king said he cannot come. That's David, his father, and he asked that all the sons should come. Little did they know that he had conspired with his servants, that once you see what's his name, Amnon, and he's drunk, kill him and all that. So that happened, and he killed him. Then all of a sudden they told David, and what's his name now, Absalom fled. And then after he fled, after a couple of time, of course, long story short, he came back to David. So David asked for him to come to him. He came back to him. He forgave him. He didn't want to see him for about 3 years. Eventually, he said, if you had known, you should have not asked me to come here and all of that. Very entitled human being. And then he asked to see him, and he saw him, and everything was on. So now he started to conspire against his father as well. Are you following? Now they read Bible. Have you read this story before? Very few of us. Anyway, so he had conspired against David. So he will stand by the gate. So when people come and to get counsel of David, he would call them by the side, and they started to, woo them, talk to them and all that. And little did David know, over time, the people's heart went after Absalom. So to the point that when they told David, a lot of people were already against David. So David had to run away from his own kingdom. So he ran away, took, some of his own people and all that. And eventually, Ahithophel, had, which his counsel was as good as the counsel of God. It was on the side of David. Now he had ported. He has changed camp to Absalom's camp. So when David heard, he was afraid. He just prayed to the Lord. He said, turn the counsel of Ahithophel, make it to become naught. And of course that happened. Long story short, blah, 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 and all. So now, all that had happened. So Absalom did not follow the counsel of Ahithophel. I'm throwing names around. If you have not read the Bible, it will be as though I'm speaking Hebrew and Greek. So that was what happened. So now, just follow me carefully. Now, Absalom did not follow the counsel of Ahithophel. It's because the prayer of God had heard the prayer of David and all that. So what he did was he followed the counsel of David's